Questions to ask yourself before calling a contractor. Before you ever reach out to a contractor, it helps to pause and ask yourself a few questions. Not because you're expected to have everything figured out, but because even a little clarity up front makes the rest of the process more productive. One helpful starting point is understanding what problem you're trying to solve. Saying, I want to renovate my kitchen is a direction but not a diagnosis. What's actually not working? Maybe it's the layout, the storage, the lighting, or the way the space functions when you have more than one person in it. You don't need to know how to fix those things. That's exactly what the planning phase is for. But being able to describe what frustrates you gives the project a clear purpose. It also helps to think about how long you plan to stay in the home. A renovation in a home that you're only living in for the next 2 years looks different from one designed for the next 20 years. That horizon influences decisions about durability, layout, flexibility, accessibility, and where it makes sense to invest. Another important consideration is your budget range. You don't need a precise number, but having a realistic window matters. If you're imagining one level of investment and the scope you want typically requires another level of investment, that gap needs to be explored early. That conversation shapes the direction of the design long before any detailed planning begins. It's also useful to know what matters most to you. Every project involves trade-offs. You may not be able to expand the footprint, but you might be able to improve the flow through the room. You may not want fully custom cabinetry, but you may care deeply about storage or organization. Knowing which elements are priorities help guide decisions as options are evaluated. You'll also want to consider who else should be part of the decision-making process. If a partner or family member will be living with the result, alignment early on avoids friction later. Renovation planning involves hundreds of small choices, and those choices are much easier when everyone is working on the same set of goals. Finally, it's worth thinking about how the work fits into your life right now. Renovations do disrupt your routines. Projects can be sequenced to minimize impact, scheduled around travel or school breaks, or timed for seasons that work better for your household. This isn't about being perfectly ready. It's about understanding how timing and planning can reduce that friction. Thinking through these questions doesn't mean you need answers to everything. It simply gives the project a starting point. From there, the planning process exists to do the heavy lifting, turning problems into solutions and ideas into a clear path forward.